You can understand sales or marketing or, social media, how to make that happen. But if you're going to solve a problem and work with industries, you need to have a little bit of a tech stack understanding. And that's what we represent.
This podcast is brought to you by Fredrik Herstad and powered by Unlisted, the leading cap table management platform in the Nordics. Produced by Amplitude Ventures, your partners in early stage music tech.
Hi Tor, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, thanks. Thanks for having me.
Great to have you here. So Tor Bækkelund, you're the co-founder and managing partner of Runway FBU. And you have a journey going from an engineer to being an investor. So welcome, and please introduce yourself and tell you who you are.
Thanks for having me again. And my background, that's interesting. I don't want to elaborate too much about it, but being an engineer, you're curious about building products and building industries. So that's how I studied engineering and went into the industry. At that time, the interest rate was 20%, and then unemployment rate was 20%. We had the financial crisis, so I worked my way through the industry, and after building and selling companies, eventually got some money and started to invest. So I don't need to go into the details, but the law. Before I joined StartupLab, I built a company. I came in back from the US after I built the company, and then also started in a company called Hugin, Norway's first software as a service company, actually. And we built it from 350 European stock-listed clients to 1,800. And during that period, we sold it 2 times. Tried to do an MBO last time. Sold it first to New York Stock Exchange and then sold it to Thomson Reuters. And after that, what do you do when you had a long time in the industry? I learned a lot and worked with. I was a part of Assa Abloy, building that company, consolidating an industry, buying 100 companies and so on before I joined Hugin. So what do you do next? Having some money, started to invest in 2010. And then the person that took over Oslo Science Park was Karl Kristian Dahlgrup, who actually was the founder of Hugin, which I developed, and started to walk down to Forskningsparken, Oslo Science Park, and was a part of the funding team building StartupLab.
Yeah. So what was the thoughts, or what was the work into StartupLab? Like, how did you find out that let's start StartupLab instead of just investing yourself?
Actually, all the credit needs to go to Karl Kristian Dahlgrup about it, because he at that time, Oslo Science Park, actually I'm almost a neighbor. I'm living very close to that Oslo Science Park, and after selling Hugin for the last time, you always have to, when you do a change, you have to reconsider what to do next, right? Also, as a founder, what to do next, and always you would like to do what you really like to do, and ending up in StartupLab was really an opportunity that, after talking to Karl Kristian and Alexander, I was the second guy joining. But actually it was a part of the transformation from Oslo Science Park to be something to develop industries and to develop, after financial crisis, all the venture money disappeared in Norway. In Sweden, they managed to keep that industry going. That's why they're a little bit ahead of Norway at the moment. And at that time, there was a lot of incubators around in Norway, but basically, we felt that they were doing not the job that we needed to do, so help founders to build companies. So I joined that team early on in 2012, when Karl Kristian started to with his ideas of reconfigure or reshape the Oslo Science Park to be what it actually was meant to be. Since I started doing investing, I took the role of starting Founders Fund 1, 2, and 3, and 4, which was the last fund I managed. But obviously with the bigger team from the start. I think now there are about 20 plus people in StartupLab.
Yeah, so when we talk about StartupLab, like for those who don't know, like StartupLab has had a significant impact on the Norwegian ecosystem. So maybe you can just kind of briefly, what is StartupLab? Like, how would you explain it to those who don't know StartupLab?
StartupLab started as an incubator, helping entrepreneurs to start an ecosystem. That was the grand thought. So what are the ingredients you need to have an effective incubator? You need a location. Actually, we rebuilt the basement of Oslo Science Park, the oldest building. And when I started, Oda, or with Carl Munthe, he was there, and a few others. But, then we invited other people that we knew to come to sit and started to help them. So a part of having a location, having some capital to help with. So the first fund was very small, at 30 million. We asked friends, do you want to be a part of what we're trying to achieve? So the response was immediate, yes, we would like to. And then 2030, Alexander and myself said, who do we want to have on board on the team? And then Rolf Assev was there with Dragonbox. They said, let's have a plan to get Rolf on board. And we managed to get Rolf on board. Rolf Assev, which is really a fantastic individual in that industry, with entrepreneurs and supporting them. And later on, a friend of Alexander came on board as Per Einar, which is now stepping down as CEO in StartupLab. He came on board because they sold this competitor, Spotify, backed by Schibsted. Per Einar came on board and took the role as building the kind of industry network. Had some very good thoughts about that, and that's how it started to roll. And it's been a fantastic journey. It's really an institution that everyone should know about.
And fast forward, I guess you have 4 funds now, right? Or StartupLab?
My last fundraise was the 4th fund. And after I've been here in Runway now for almost 4 years, and after that I have started the 5th fund.
Yeah, I saw they just had a closing on the other one. Yeah,
that's great.
And then also they launched enough, so they have this Fossumparken research park in Oslo, and then they have something in Bergen now. And it's fair to say that a lot of like the big successful tech companies in Norway and also the unicorns coming out of StartupLab.
Yeah, I mean it's been a fantastic journey. I don't know how many investments they've done, but north of 160 or 70 investments. Obviously, I have carry in the 4 funds, and I still am a shareholder in StartupLab. So
Yeah, it's a fantastic people working there, and a lot of knowledge, so available for founders.
Yeah.
So okay, and then so you were leading that, and then one day you got a phone call, and everything changed.
You heard that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
So after almost 10 years in a basement, 300 meters away from where you live, you start to look upon what's next. Not by its not by the drive by yourself want to get away, but how can I contribute to the ecosystem even more? What are the ideas and what are the thoughts? And I know Kjell Inge Røkke is one of the biggest industrial builders in Norway, with Aker and so on. A fantastic individual with a lot of energy. He's from Molde, so we know each other from before. And I also had him and Aker join fund number 2. And then I told people around Kjell-Inge, I'm looking for other other thoughts. And then one evening, I think it was early February 21, he gave me a call, why don't you come over and join us? And a part of the history is that I learned to come back to why we do this, right? A part of the history is that both Geir Engdahl, which has a snap sale, developed, a Google engineer that came back from the US. We helped him in StartupLab and so on. And also an individual that Fredrik Anfinsen, Shemai 3D. So during 2016, Kjell-Inge called Fredrik Anfinsen after a founder interview in Finansavisen, because he was able to solve something that they would need to solve. And what need to solve is how can you visualize 3D information of big assets with the size of the file being too big or at the moment. So this spun out, and they bought Shemai 3D, Aker bought Shemai 3D, all what is to be called Cognite, right? So the founding partners of Cognite is Geir Engdahl, came from StartupLab, Fredrik Anfinsen, which bought the company, and obviously Jon Markus Leirvik and Stein Danielsen, those are the 4 founders of Cognite. So the idea of Cognite came up, and I'm sure someone else can tell that story much better than I am, but the framework is that engineers spend 30% of the time looking for data, looking for information, right? And through the oil crisis, when the price for the barrel was $20 to $30 a barrel, oil companies lost money, right? So, and that's an important element. How can they become more efficient, right? And then we're talking about digitalization. And they looked into Palantir, Aker BP, which is to be called Aker BP. Looked into Palantir, and then it's not what we look for. Why don't we do it ourselves? And then that's how Cognite started, And now Cognite is 800,000 people. And then after Cognite, so we started in 2016, they started ACE in 2019, which is actually spun out from Aker Solutions with the idea to represent data, assets, digitally. And assets could be a ship, an oil platform, etc. So really how to make that happen efficiently, because the industry today is not more efficient than they were 20 years ago. That's one of the big challenges in the industry today. So as a continuation of believing that 90% of the data industry is not used, you don't get it, you're not able to use it. That's one of the biggest problems in the industry today. And there is a lot of companies that have proprietary data. An example, I'm company A. I would like to get my data. I have to get to the sub-supplier of that data, being Honeywell, Siemens, or whomever. And I ask them, I want my data. Now, it's not your data. It's our data, right? So how do you liberate data? How do you get access to data in an efficient way? So as a part of that, when 90% of the data is not used, we are highly digital in Norway. There's a lot of good engineers in Norway. So we have all elements to be able to build good companies in the industry. Because digitalization today has been on the boardroom, but the efficiency, the effect has not come through, right? And a part of the idea with StartupLab as well is that, how do you transform industries? How do you develop? And I've been a part of large corporations, Kværner and also Bloy. you look on the bottom line, how can you increase the margin by 2%, 10%, cost cutting, moving factories from Norway to Eastern Europe or to China, etc. That was the game, right? But, we believe that having smart people with a lot of energy and a lot of competence within digital as a tool sets and so on, how can they influence or work with larger corporations to help them to be more efficient, right? That's a huge task in itself for large industries to make that happen. And remember then when we started StartupLab, we simulated if I were an engineer, if I were an entrepreneur, how do I get in contact with large corporations? And at that time, large corporations, it's kind of not invented here. Actually, I had to call the receptionist. There's no contact because they would like, it's a closed society, it's a closed ecosystem with each corporations at that time. You really, you're far better than anyone else in what you're doing. You don't want to share anything. And how do we as an entrepreneur, so how do me as an entrepreneur get in contact? It's super difficult. So that is something we needed to crack. So coming back to Runway, the grand idea, which I thought, highly digital, there's a challenge in the industry. There's a lot of, Norwegian engineers are cost effective compared to colleagues in the US, for example. A lot of loyalty, and we used to collaborate, right? There's an open environment. So all elements were present, and also that Kjell Inge and Aker said, no, within business to consumer, the ecosystem and the digitalization has happened with iPhone and all the, everyone knows that. But within the industry, that's the bigger problems. Something need to happen. And then Kjell Inge called in, wanted to come over and we built something on steroids. What's the capital you need? So this was during COVID. So I came on board and we're sitting together with Ace for 6 months. Okay, what am I doing and so on. So quickly we created a plan, hired the people, developed all the methods, had the right strategies, and developed the strategies. Because the mandate, as you probably would like to understand, the mandate was continue with the ideas you have, right? Which I talked about now, which was part of the process within Aker as well. We'll give you the freedom to develop it with full accountability. So full autonomy to develop something, which is really fun, right? And then you have an ambition to help industry to become more effective. Also within COVID, resilience, ability to turn around, right? To change business models, etc. And the sustainability aspect. So those are the 3 pillars we have. And during the first 2 years, hired the right people, fantastic team, developed the strategies. And at that time, Martin Beckholt was in Aker, and we had a lot of good conversations about, what should be our focus. We need to be good at something. And that's how it span out, basically.
So it's an interesting story. So did that go from, like when he said go and solve it, was Runway already born by then? Or did you say, okay, now let's go and start Runway and structure it the way you have done it today? Or
it with the Kjell Inge, it's kind of, this is the, what do you come over and let's discuss, let's develop something. So they basically come on board. I trust that you can develop something. I like the idea. Let's go on. And I made a 15-page memo, which he read. It was that on a boat in the Caribbean, and we agreed. And then Then we developed the business plan, which was agreed together with Øyvind. I think it was 14th of June 2021. And then it's just a matter of running quickly, executing, which we are doing basically.
Yeah. So before we kind of jump into more to details, tell us about the name. Why Runway FBU?
Yeah. So the initial thought was a little bit different, but Runway, I mean, we are based in Norway. We are sitting on an old airport. So Runway is how long is your runway, etc.
Exactly, yeah.
And FBU is the old tag for Fornebu, which you had on your baggage tag, FBU. So then it was Runway Fornebu, basically. What we call us pilots, which are the pilot for the company, etc. So we're using that as a little bit of signal, but I had a fantastic individual helping on this creation, which is called Nils Petter Noskar, giving a lot of credit on coming up with that idea.
Yeah. So how would you introduce Runway today? So Runway today, it's an investor, and then you also have it's a bit kind of different structure. But please kind of elaborate a little bit on what is Runway, what are you looking for, etc. Or just start with a kind of brief introduction of what is Runway FBU.
Yeah. So Runway is we are building an ecosystem, right? So in the beginning, we thought, we need to, how do we, in the easiest way to explain what we're doing, once we got the money and we are, placed in Aker, is that, we are investing. A part of the game is to support with capital, right? But we are much more than that. So over time, we have developed and hired people. So building an ecosystem, as a part of being here at the campus of Aker, we built also a location for people to come and get help. So we have a tech hub, which we call it, of 120, modern. Actually, the building was finalized a year and a half ago. And the idea from Kjell Inge is that, all the tech companies should be in this building, offering what we have, right? So we have 120 seats. We have 2 floors, all modern, equipment, in addition to having the fun. So today we have three pillars. One pillar is you come here, you sit there, you get there. We connect people to experts in Aker, for example. I'll come back to that a little bit later on. And then over time, one of the ideas developing Cognite or ACE is that what's the biggest challenge building a company, right? Obviously, you need to decide, to solve a problem. There will need to be a market. Someone will need to be willing to pay for it, etc., etc. That's something you can come back to because quite a lot of engineers, they're building products and then they realize the market is too small or it's not there. But so the idea building Cognite today is that, Aker was the first demanding client. Actually, they started these companies, but, they connected Aker companies to Cognite and ACE as a first demanding client. And I think building B2B companies to help industries to solve their problem, it's hard, and it is a little bit back to the initial thought, the discussion about StartupLab as well. How do you get in contact with, how do you get good contacts within the industry, which is relevant for your ideas? So that is the idea. How can we use, and that building an ecosystem in venture fund, there's a lot of venture funds out there. The last 10 years has exploded. So a little bit back to about what's our unfair competitive advantage. That's how you need to think as an entrepreneur, and also when you build something, as well. So our unfair competitive advantage and our differentiator is We have 3,000 experts on the campus. Open doors, easy. Everyone that's sitting here asking for a connection or the ones we invest in, we help. Easy for us to do a due deal. We can have a 10-minute call with an expert within Aker or our partners, come back to that, saying, we know about this problem, it's good, or interesting, let's meet the company, or stay away because this has been solved by someone else, right? So that makes us fast in deciding what we would like to go for or inviting to our location. So, and also to understand which problem to solve. If you look upon the generic, you know, people in Norway are not good salesmen. You've probably heard that before as well. You know, sales is crucial, right? Building products you can, but you know, getting that to the market and go-to-market strategy. There's not that many companies that have succeeded in that in a good way the last 10, 15 years. You know, a few of those are, you know, Ardoc and so on. But understanding problems and verticals when you go to industries is important, right? You know, you can understand sales or marketing or, you know, social media, how to make that happen. But if you're going to solve a problem and work with industries, you need to have a little bit of a tech stack understanding. And that's what we represent, right? So I think, you know, and the network within different industries. So I think that is a good part. But just to get back to the structure that we have, so we have a team working with the location, the tech hub in Aker Tech House. It's about 3,000 people sitting here. It's about 800 people in Aker Tech House. The campus is going to be further developed, etc. Today it's about 30 companies sitting in our tech hub, about 100 people associated with it. Then we have the Industry Software Alliance team, 2 people working on that, and working with industries and connecting them. And by the way, an example, the CEO of Aker BP, Kalle Hersvik, he went to NTNU, he's studied physics, highly technical within IT, a lot of industries and so on. He spent 2 meetings this summer with the founder of OOT because they use that type of services from Siemens and Honvels and so on, Aviva, etc. That's what we represent. So we help, you know, the industry partners spend time with the companies that we introduce them. So when we invest, and what we help them with is that we can help you to get your first demanding client or a demanding client if you already have clients, etc., within certain industries. And they will spend time with you. But it's not a guarantee because you need to do the pitch yourself and your product need to solve a problem for them. So right now it's about 6 or 7 of the companies we invested in are in direct dialogue with our partners. And our partners are companies also outside Aker, right?
Is that what you call the Tech Alliance?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have the Tech Hub, the Industry Software Alliance, the Tech Alliance, and then we have the fund. So there's we are a team of 8 people, and we have different responsibilities to make that happen.
Yeah, it's a great setup, and it's, as you said, it's really a kind of a good competitive advantage being a fund. Because what you want is, like, obviously you need money to fund whatever initiative you're going to take, but at the end of the day you need clients and you need expertise and so on. So if you can open doors and really help them, that you know, it's obviously a big win-win.
There's a company moved in here this week. Already connected them to 2 individuals which are experts within the field. Super happy.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
A question on the Tech Hub. Is that open for everyone, or do you need to be invested in them, or you need to have some kind of relationship with them? Or can you say something about that?
Yeah, I mean, we don't have to invest in you for you to be a part of the Tech Hub. That was the grand idea, but, you know, we adjusted it, you know. I mean, you have ideas and it's like being an entrepreneur. You need to adapt to the market, right?
Yeah.
The idea also was for employees in Aker, if they have ideas, they come to us. And every week I spend, you know, an hour with anyone that would like to have a chat about something that makes sense for me to have a view on what they're doing. But you don't have to be a part of our portfolio to sit here. Absolutely not. So there is an opportunity for people, because we see the opportunity for partners, also corporates, to benefit from what we are doing. So it's a two-way street. It's not only that the entrepreneurs get, you know, potentially good feedback, market insight, potentially being first demanding client or so, but also a benefit from the industry, which is what I earlier said, the efficiency industry hasn't come through. And since we started, you know, I've been a chairman to a company within AI ops for that was 7 years of different hard work for the team. But for the last 4 years, the AI element has come up, right? AI is a tool, you know, AI agents, etc. But the majority of AI usage is ChatGPT, basically LLMs and so on. But, you know, there are experts, you know, in this building, there are 20 robotics experts, for example. There's a lot of people working on AI. We have access to them. And the industry need to be able to elaborate or capture that opportunity. And that takes time, because you need to work on the hardest problem. You need to work on the full stack, not on the top level stack, on the, you know, service organizations, you know, how to have a chatbot to be more in dialogue with you as a client, etc. But, you know, access to data, how can you use the data in the best way to improve your efficiency, basically. And it's a major opportunity to start a company today. I mean, for those who are old enough to have experienced that, you know, before in 2005, for example, or 2008 or 2010, you needed to buy a stack of computers. That was your cloud, basically, your local cloud. And then when the cloud came and you didn't need to invest in that, that was a fantastic opportunity. This opportunity with AI is even bigger, and it's easier to start a company. You need to have less capital to build. So that's a fantastic opportunity for investors as well.
100%
right?
agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you tell me a little bit about your fund, like your size? Is I guess you talked about the kind of what you're looking for. It's industry based, but maybe you can say a bit more. Do you have any other things in the mandate that founders should be aware of?
I mean, we created
when do you invest?
Yeah, exactly. So the current fund, we obviously look for data and tech-centric companies, making industry efficient, resilient, and sustainable. Domain-driven, experienced entrepreneurs with ambitions, right? So a little bit what we offer is our experience. So the team it's a good, diverse team. We have access to industrial expertise, knowledge, network, which I mentioned, and the fund size is 400 million. We have done 21 investments. It's set up. It's a single LP fund, you know, but it's the fund. There's a mandate. We have an agreement, etc. So what we looking into is the pre-seed, seed, and investments. We do follow-on investments, obviously. Initial ticket vary from 1 to 10 million NOK. We have done 3 follow-ons on one of the companies. We have done 1 exit. Our TVPI is 1.1, which is above market standard during these years. And what we're looking at is the full industry tech stack, digital infrastructure, platform, and business processes. Going a little bit further on what we believe in, which I mentioned, is the getting access to data, but our investment strategy evolves around use AI to unlock the industry transformation, but we are not enterprise AI first, so to speak. So what we look upon as an investment strategy, we do look upon connectivity and IoT, the IoT evolution, and that's about a part of getting access to the data. Building horizontal platforms or specialized vertical solutions. We look into robotics and workforce efficiency, investing in robotics and automation ventures, efficiency within labor, to leverage AI and IoT, and also operational transformation, which is a blend of software solutions, improving know-how, efficiency. I talked about engineers spending 30% of the time looking for stuff, right? So I think that is a part of what we aim for, and the AI will play a significant role here, of course, but as a toolbox to make that happen. So
yeah, it's like what can be a bit confusing is maybe like when you say industry, but knowing for those who know Aker, so it's not necessarily industry that Aker kind of works in. It's more broader when you mention that industry, right? As you said, robotics, AI, efficiency.
Industry agnostic.
Yeah.
I mean, but what you invest in, or people you can help, or entrepreneurs you can help and help companies grow, is what you have experience in and what you know. So we don't do healthcare, right?
No.
Education. So other people are much more experts and have that knowledge.
Yeah. So so you said you're one LP, but you're a team. So how do you make investment decisions and Runway?
Yeah, good question. So if you're from Norway, you know Aker a bit, right? There's a lot of transactions happening. They all control or owners of 11 listed large industry companies. There's a lot of the last thing is the Stargate Norway, with working with NVIDIA to set up a factory, and working with OpenAI, which was in the news last week.
Yeah,
or
huge project.
Yeah, exactly. Placing Norway on the map, so to speak. Whatever. I forgot the question.
No, it's making it like investment decisions. How are they made?
Yeah. So exactly. Thanks for bringing me back then. So I told Kjell Inge. So we had a few good chats in the beginning, and have it as well on the continuation. Is that if you believe that you will have 30%, 51% ownership of each company we invest in, we can just stop here, because that won't happen. Being early stage investors, you have a minority share, investing, helping the companies, to grow. So no, that's fine. And the team, we decides all the investments, right? So that's going back to the full autonomy, full responsibility. So no one in Aker is telling what to do. We have developed everything ourselves. We make all decisions ourselves. So it's the investments team, is also a broader part of the team that is a part of Runway FBU, make all decisions. Investment decisions, obviously we need to have a dialogue with the potential investment. So we have developed the methods, how to make decisions, what we focus on, and so on, which we talked about. So we have an IC meeting every second week. It's super agile, 2 hours. If we need we had 2 IC meetings during the summer holiday. So it's not a wait and see game, you know, we're having an IC meeting in next month, wait and see, and so on. So keeping up this pace in accordance to the expectations of the entrepreneurs, because they can't wait. They need to have decisions, right? Sometimes it takes 1 or 2 or 3 meetings to make that decision, right?
Sure.
So along we build the process. We do an investor, investment intro. If it's thumbs up, thumbs down, or whatever, you have decision matrix, etc. There will be an investment recommendation, and then an investment, and then it's a value creation, and then it's a pilot who introduces the company. And we also have a wingman or a co-pilot engaged. So always 2 people engaged in the company.
Yeah.
And every month we have a review of the portfolio. You know, every quarter we have a rationalization meeting. So where do we put our focus? Which company is going, and you know, who do we help, etc. Sagar, my partner in crime. You should talk to him as well. Very smart individual.
Yeah, he's a smart guy. I've met him a few times.
Yeah. He's so yeah, basically everything is data driven, easy to use. And we also do search in the beginning when we launched Runway FBU. We did that in Trondheim, and we had Kjell Inge together with Kjell Inge for a day, and we had 500 students. We launched it at NTNU.
Cool.
So it's I would say fully independent, even if it's a single LP. And we are planning now for the next years until 2037. So we are thinking about, you know, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th generation of funds and planning, you know. So this is only the start, right?
Yeah.
So I think that is very interesting, and the team is on the right age, you know, continuation planning and so on for the setup.
How long? So when a founder makes contact and you kind of get into that, and it becomes more serious, and you actually kind of take them into the IC meeting, like how long would you, on an average, would you say is a kind of a process from kind of that point to you actually invest in the company?
Everything from a week to a month. It depends. It depends on the complexity of the solution. If it's super, you know, advanced, we need to talk to. You know, we do reference checks on clients if they have clients on the team. We circulate it. You know, obviously ask for permission to talk to others to really understand. You know, do you need to solve a need, right? Are you able to make the product? You know, are there any defensibility you're building into? Doesn't have to be IP necessarily, but you know, the more difficult the problem is and the more complex the product is, the more defensibility you build into it. You know? So there's a whole, there's so many things, but you know, market, can you make the solution, you know, is there someone that can verify that this is something that there is a need for? Then it's the team. And you know, being an entrepreneur, it's tough. It's super tough, and they need to be able to, at least the founders, if it's 1, 2, 3, or 4, they need to be a coherent team, with a commercial, technical, and so on. And also, we need to trust that they are able to they are in it for the journey, basically, because it's always something that is challenging, and they need to have that grit to stay the full length of the journey.
Yeah.
Obviously, things can happen. You never know. And also, the last thing is that asking what we are looking for in entrepreneurs, the ability to attract people. Be able to explain what you're doing, that people understand it, and explaining complex things in a simple way. It's not everyone that are able to do it. And also to be able to articulate what we are trying to do and have the gravitas to attract other people, right? And
I totally agree.
And that comes with ambition, right?
Yeah.
It's not, I mean, we are not investing in projects that is making it easier for people to order beer on the restaurant, right? We are investing in other types of ventures, right? It's really fun. It's really fun to help people, and really fun to work with people that you see have the passion to solve something that really is meaningful.
Yeah. What is the best way to contact Runway? So if I'm a founder, like I want to understand if we're a good fit, and I want to pitch my company to you. What's the best way to reach out?
Any channel, basically. But we have a website you can go to. Obviously, there's a lot of investors out there. There's a lot of good investors. There's a lot of brilliant people out there. As an entrepreneur, you need to really understand, look upon our portfolio, talk to some of our portfolio companies, to understand how we work. And you can get in contact with us through LinkedIn, email, or a call, or through the website. But what we see, the ones that contact us is between 30 and 45 years. They have industry understanding. They come from the industry. They know what to solve, right? But we do invest in, and we have students here as well to help them, because students can create good products, but they need more help than than a engineer at age 35 or 40 that is an expert within the field that he's trying to solve.
It's funny. We just we kind of reviewed our ICPs, like ideal customer profiles, and it's kind of spot on. Like, we have all sorts of customers within unlisted or early stage founders, like from students till really even retired people. But we see, as you said, maybe between 35 to 50. That's when we have a lot of 35 to 45 probably. That's when you see a lot of people with experience, and they're really going for it. And it's a bit different.
If we are not the right investor for you as an entrepreneur, we try to direct them to where they could fit. Right. And I'm happy to take talks with anyone that would like to have a piece of advice if they care about it. And sometimes you just grab them and go to the person next door in the second floor or whatever, being a part of Omni, Ace, or Cognite, or any company here at the campus, just to get them going in the direction I feel probably would be the best one.
Speaking of advice, let's I want to pick your brain on a few things, because obviously you have a lot of experience for yourself from different journeys. You've seen a lot through StartupLab and now through Runway. So first thing I'm curious about, do you see any are there any particular traits that you see from successful entrepreneurs or startups that sticks out?
I touch upon it.
Yeah,
Grit.
I mean,
I give a view. I mean, within sports. I mean, I have kids that do sports. I mean, a fairly high level. I've done sports myself. But, imagine a individual that has been running 800 meters, track and field, right? For 5 years, and decreased the speed of the 800 meter by 1 second in 5 years. Imagine how they think and what kind of grit you have and passion you need to have. And 5 years is a short time. It could be 10, 15 years. And that is the type of commitment we're looking for. That it takes a lot. I mean, it doesn't take your whole life, but you need to be in it for a long time, because developing companies take 7, 8, 10 years. I remember when we started in the early days of StartupLab, the big saying was, succeed within 6 months. This was for the Silicon Valley. Succeed within 6 months, otherwise you don't have to do it, right? I mean, that's nonsense. It takes much more time, right? But so the grit to stay the whole full length, and also the, I would say the flexibility, being humble, not, if you decide to do something, be open to do a pivot, right? Because the world is changing. If it takes you 4 or 5 years, things change, and you should be able to do something else if that doesn't work out. It's quite a few that, never give up. That's also something that is a good skill set, never give up, but have the flexibility to adapt to the market, because you will get a lot of feedback during that developing a company, and you need to sort out. So the third one is focus. Have the ability to stay focused. There's too much noise. I mean, running around to conferences, and it's really this entrepreneur life tend to eat your time. You have to. What is my job? What's my ambition? What do I need to do to make that happen? Running around in on conferences is really not. It's not going to give you anything, other than if you have meetings set up, or you're targeting any investors, it might be more effective to go to one location where you meet them all, right? And I think a little bit not to be stuck. I mean, don't fall in love with what you do 100%, because it might change, world changing. Be flexible in the way you do stuff, and also hire people that's smarter than you. I mean, it's easy to say, easy to do, but my team, young, ambitious people, it's fantastic to work with them, and let's see how successful we can be. Verdict is still out there, right?
A lot of good advice. On the flip side of that, like, so now you're talking about good traits. Do you, from your experience, like, what are if you were to pick any, or a few, what would you say is the most common pitfalls, that kind of that startups or founders do?
I mean, it varies, obviously. It's really hard. I mean, the best one, which I'm coming to, the ones that are not making it. I've seen good entrepreneurs, adding everything I said earlier. They seek input from a lot of sources, right? And I'm not talking about sitting and reading and searching on a computer, but I seek a lot of inputs from other professionals, other people with experience, and they're able to assess it and take out what they believe in from it, right? If you are in this investment or, entrepreneurial community, there's a lot of opinions. And I think the ones that failed, what I've seen is they're not able to process all the inputs. It's too much, right? So they are not able to execute. So if you're going to be an entrepreneur, you need to have the skill set just to execute. You might execute wrongly, but you're executing and you learn, right? And then you can diverge into when you learn that, oh, okay, this was not the right way to do it. Let's do it in a different way. So there's some fantastic entrepreneurs that have that ability, and also the technical skill set. If you are developing technical solutions, you don't have the technical skill set or understanding, you need to have someone on the team that really understands that. But I mean, people fail for different reasons, right? But we wish them luck, everyone, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, we're nearing an hour, so
Yeah.
we need to start to round off. I want to end with a couple of quick questions here on when you first meet an entrepreneur or when you first see the pitch deck, are there any particular things that you look specifically after?
I mean, I think the personality, meaning willing to do the job, right? It's a little bit back to what I said before. Being humble also, having, I met entrepreneurs that are super introvert, right? Super experts, but they don't get it going because they're not able to engage other people not able to communicate it. So I prefer to meet people in person, obviously, before we do it. Having, the personality, I mean, attract people, having a positive attitude, right? Flexibility, humble, able to and willing to do the work, basically. So these are some control questions, but obviously, when you're going to invest in someone, this is what we tell companies as well. You need to do a proper DD on us, because this is a long-term relationship, right? So we need, it's like a marriage, and people have said this 10,000 before. You would like to engage in people you like, right? So the likability is important, and the trust, and that's why I was running. I had an operations in Leipzig, in Hugget, former Eastern Germany. So different cultures are, different setups. In Eastern Germany, you have to prove that they can trust you. In Norway, the trust is established from day one. Right? That's why it's good to create companies and get people engaged in other. It's much easier. And same thing in the US, there's a little bit of a shell around it, good talkers, etc. But, are they really engaged in helping you developing the company? So, yeah.
Good. I had another question, but you also answered that at the same time. So, but just to be clear, you do not only invest in Norway, you invest in other countries in Nordic, or?
Yeah. So, Nordic. 80% will be in Norway. But we do, since we have this industrial software tech focus, which was not the norm within VC when we started. And we are not a corporate venture. We are a venture fund, fully autonomous, make our own decision. So other investors come to us from abroad and say, hey, we think that, with your profile, what you're doing is relevant. We'd like to have you on board. And also we're part of some industrial networks in Europe where we also find, so we have one Italian investment, one German investment, and one Swedish investment, and the rest is Norwegian. But, the Italian investment is a company that has a lot of projects with Aker BP that's come through. So we nudge that relationship to make that happen. And that Italian investment is W sensors, underwater, wireless communication, which is super relevant for that type of industry, especially after what happened in the with the pipelines that was exploded, etc. The surveillance, but also for detecting the habitat within the sea, poison, pollution, etc. And also for defense purposes. So the critical infrastructure and so on. So that's just one of the examples we have to connect the companies we invest in with the industry. And I think we have succeeded quite good. But, still Verdert is out from the first fund.
Yeah.
We are 4 years into the, 3.5 years into the fund.
Yeah.
And that's a 10 plus one fund setup.
It's going to be interesting to follow your journey. So
Yeah. We're quite open about, it's still to prove that we are doing the right thing. But, I think we are, have a good setup here. Have some competitive advantage on comparing other VCs, what we focus on and what we can contribute on. But, venture is about collaborating with other venture funds as well. So we learn from each other. So it's a good community.
Yeah. Great. Thanks a lot for coming to the podcast. Great conversation, and I look forward to follow your journey, as I said. So
yeah,
thanks for now.
Great talk. Nice talking to Fredrik, and good luck with the other discussions with the others. And I'm sure we'll learn a lot more than you have by listening to me.
Yeah. Thanks.
Okay. Take care. Bye bye.
Take care. Bye.